whether you've been a follower of the festival for the last 12 years, and if you are, thank you so much, or if you're new and this is the first time you encounter the festival, it really means a lot that we're all here together. So with that, I want to give at this point a super special thank you to Elisa for joining us at a time in room which is close to dinner time, right? It's 7.
Yeah, close.
I mean, for us it would be
7.
dinner. For you, it's pre-dinner, close to dinner, close to dinner.
Now you know.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Before I ask you a few questions, this is how I'm thinking we can do this today. The first thing I'd like to say is we are honored, super happy and excited that we are the first festival or people that screened this movie in the US. So for this reason, we're even more particularly emotional than we would be otherwise. And so I think it's also a chance for Elisa to hear from you. I'm assuming some of you, or more than some of you, have seen the film. And I think if I can, I am sure that for Elisa to hear how we feel over here about what she went through, about her movie and what reactions we have to it. I think that for a director, for an artist, is the biggest gift we can give them. So I would encourage you to participate. My first question to you, Elisa, would be, you know, those of us who have seen the film, I mean, well, I would like to say two things. One, why we decided that we really wanted your film in our festival. And the reason it's because, for so many reasons, we felt it was, first of all, because you are so brave, courageous, and brave and courageous, and those are qualities that must be recognized and admired. And also because what you went through, and at the time you went through it, it felt, especially for us here in the States and for Italians, like a document also on what you, aside from your personal experience, of what a whole city went through. And so it seemed really particularly relevant. And we also find it extremely beautiful. It's an ode to life. It's a story of not giving up, of survival, of wanting to win our fears, and it just resonated with us a lot. I would like to ask you, before anything else, because I think of what we've seen, what's important for us to know is, how are you? How is Alessia, right? Your friend. And how is Stella, your dog? So those are my first question.
So Alessia got her last check just, I think, last Friday, and she's apparently fine. She'll have to wait until June to have, like, kind of green light that she's really all right. So for now, she is keeping some strange thing in her chest, so that if she has to, keep with treatment, she's already there set. Stella, she had a lot of problems this winter, but she's here sleeping, so I'd say she's fine. She's my guide animal. Can you say that?
Yes.
Are like a guide, it's not an animal. She's like more than an animal. And about myself, I'm fine. I mean, this year, not this year, like this February is way harder than last February, even if it's strange. Or even last March, because we were in front of the history, the big history. Something huge was happening in front of my eyes. Besides the fact that I had a problem, which was really something somehow marginal, something that, is there. If you die, whatever, who cares? We are 7 billions and the world is ending out there. So I was like, okay, I don't care that much. But, I was facing like everybody, something that was unique. So, like the sexiness of catastrophe. This year, now, February, and tomorrow is March. So we are basically in the first anniversary of this new lifestyle. To me, it's really heavier. I mean, I need to, it's like a nightmare now, I miss you. I miss the fact that, the world exists. And now instead, I feel like the house exists, the city exists, not even in its entire, and that's it. And that's not something that we can, keep on doing forever. So I want to get out, and so I'm fine, but
Yes.
a bit exhausted, like everybody.
Yes.
I stopped sleeping, eating properly. It's like a mess, my life. Like, I mean, even my mom's life is a mess, so it's not something special about me. It's just this moment.
Do you still have to go for checkups or?
Yeah, of course. And as you know, hospitals are always the best place to be, right? So yes, I go, I have my test, my blood, my ecography, I guess. But I'm okay. For now, I'm okay. Then,
We're so happy to see you, and we're so happy to be inside your home. Somebody looks like we suddenly entered your movie. So it just
never-ending movie.
It never ends. It never ends. And my second question is very simple, very easy, but I think it could be useful because I'm not sure everybody in our audience understands the title or has had the time to look it up. iSola. Why is this? How does this? How does this represent you, the film? Why this title?
This movie has a very strange story. I mean, I didn't want to make a proper movie. And actually, I was at home alone, kind of under a spell, no? And like the 70% of the stuff you just that I was recording,
Elisa,
not even shooting, like with my cell phone,
You froze up for a second. Can you repeat?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Can you start again?
Really?
Thank you. We're live.
Yeah.
We're on Zoom. It happens.
I was telling. Yeah, I know. That's okay. Basically, the 70% of the material that you saw in the movie were really short videos that I was recording for my family, for my friends, for people that, were far away from me because I was alone in my house, basically. Then my best friend got sick, and so I suggested her to do the same. Basically, record yourself while you go to the hospital, when you do your treatments, and you send me stuff so that I'll be there with you, and maybe we can do something about our stuff together, right? Then I got my surgery done, so I felt better, relieved at least, because this kind of cancer is really slippery because you don't feel sick. I mean, from your blood, you're perfectly healthy and your body works perfectly. Normally, when you discover, it's too late because they grown too much, and that's maybe you can't breathe or things like that, but not because of other things. And so when I felt better, I was like, okay, maybe we can try to do something with this strange moment of our life. And the best part is that she's my best friend since forever, but we got a kind of, we had a discussion like 1 year and a half ago. And when we spoke again, I told her, oh, you know, I have a cancer. She was like, oh, fuck, what are you, it's not possible. You're too young and this and that. And like 30 days after, she told me the same. So basically this kind of problem, this illness, became bonding. And to me, this movie is not about problems, but it's about the power that we have, each of us. I mean, it's not something that only a filmmaker has, and it's the storytelling power. I mean, the moment you tell a story, it becomes something else, and it becomes like really a ode to life, you see? And it's not something, I mean, this movie is really strange again, because as I told you, he decided to meet a man, so it's not neutral. It's like a man. I mean, he decided to get to life, you know, to born. And even the title, it's not something I decided. I don't know how this movie got its title, honestly. Anyway, I like it, so I kept it. And for, I mean, in Italian, isola means island, which is really clear, no? I mean, we all felt, I guess, islands like spread around the world in our loneliness, and not solitude, loneliness. But at the same time, the graphic of the title with the S capital, it reminds you, I mean, it's for the iPhone, right? Something that basically is in our memory now, no? And it's like represents the way I shot it, basically with my cell phone. So it has the double meaning, isola.
And sola means alone, so maybe there's also a triple.
Yeah, sola means alone, and I again is just because it's maybe three. It has three, three layers. But the first is island, then the iPhone, because it's shot with an iPhone 10X, and then I am alone, and I'm still alone. It's like my, you know, condition, human condition. I mean, my work is all about this always. I try to kind of change stuff, but at the very end of the day, I'm always talking about the same things. Basically, my fear of death and my condition of being alone. But always, I mean, you know, laughing about it and trying to, you know, kind of deal with this atrocity that we all share at the same time, you know. So, but still, you know, you have spring and like in Il cielo sopra Berlino, what's the title in English?
I think it's
under the sky,
not the sky above Berlin. No.
The clouds above. I used to live in Italy when it came out, so I don't remember the English title. Anyway,
but there was the angel, no? And it was like, you know, life is a mess, but still, if you are cold, you can do this. If you are lonely, you can meet a friend. If you have, you know, I mean, that's the beauty of it.
So I wasn't going to bring it up so soon, but because you mentioned being alone, it makes me think that, you know, you talk a lot in your film, and I think it's such a interesting, unusual, unexpected way, because it's not something that filmmakers, especially in Rome, in a certain circle would talk about, is, you know, your faith, you know. And so maybe, are you truly alone? Because I mean, God seems to be playing a very big part, at least in these years of your life. And it definitely plays a big part in the movie because it opens up. It seems like some of the scenes, you seem to be in Florence at the Battistero with priests, and maybe that was your baptism. I don't know, but
it was mine.
It was your baptism? Okay.
Yeah.
And then it seems that you have a very, very personal, intimate, in a way, even if I don't know if you know him, relationship with Pope Francis. So, he seems like he's somewhere there, your best friend. So how does that come in with how does that help you not to feel alone?
I wish it was my friend, Again, I'm still looking for his phone call, as I told you, because like a couple of years ago he was calling up people out of the yellow pages. So unfortunately, I'm not in the yellow pages because I don't have like a line phone anymore. I only have a cell phone. So I guess the Pope won't call me. Anyway, even in my book, my last book is in a special thanks, which is something strange, right? And that's true that in 2021, being Christian is still a scandal, especially because of the church now, right? Because it's full of scandals. So when even my closer friend and closest friend discovered that all suddenly when I was 37, I got like the first sacrament, il battesimo, baptism, was a shock for everybody. It was like, oh, are you crazy? What happened to you? You discovered you were raped. You discovered that something horrible happened in your childhood. Instead, nothing. I just discovered that I'm afraid of that again, and that this fear is impossible to escape or resolve or overcome ever, to me at least, but that faith can help you adding a layer of sense on your life. Actually, the best part is that, I mean, a friend of mine, a young priest, who's the real punk, not like my old friends, that thought they were free. This guy is less than 30, he's like 29, and he is like a punk. He's like a young, free person. Anyway, the thing that he told me at the very beginning of my conversion, actually, I don't know if it's a conversion because I was nothing before and now I believe. So I don't know the name for this kind of metamorphosis. Anyway, what he told me is that nobody asks you to be different. Nobody asks you anything, actually. I mean, God is not there asking you to suffer or to do anything you don't want to be or to become something you don't want to be. Actually, it's the opposite. What you can do instead is to add a layer and to start seeing and looking at things that normally are invisible, which is my job, basically, making up stories or just telling stories. And so, again, in the movie, I said at some point, like, okay, the April 21st, 2019, I was with my head in the kind of fountain with the water, holy water, and getting Christian. And the year after, exactly the very same day, I'm in a hospital room waiting for some guy to take me and to have a surgery, the first one of my life, in the worst time of the ever. I mean, not even of my life. It's like incredible, right? Also because the hospitals were almost impossible to access back then, at least here in Italy. And you were forced to be alone, and I mean, everything was worse, right? But at that point, I was in this room, and I was looking at this crucifix, which was, I mean, normally to me was something kind of superstitious, right? My old me would look at this object like, oh, Jesus, again, this guy on the cross, right? Instead, that morning, that sunrise, I was staring at this object, and it became like a Cartesian cross, not the cross of God, but was like a rational cross, because I believe with rationality also. And that's something that the Pope, I think, taught me. Of course, in a strange way, because, you know, mystery talks to you the way you can understand it. It's not for everybody the same, right? I mean, I don't go to church on Sunday, and I don't think God will hate me for that, right? But in the movie, the Pope is around a lot like a friend, because actually he was a friend. And first of all, was the only one talking with some kind of honesty back then, because it was such a, I mean, such a huge impact he had with, you saw, no, right? When in St. Peter's, is alone, white, small, under the rain, and, you know, like admitting that we are nothing, right? But still we can do a lot, and we can kind of go through things. He was talking about future, and he was the only one, while it was like a terrorism here, like don't go out, don't breathe, don't eat, don't go to the supermarket, don't do anything, don't stay home and wait to die, basically, right? That was somehow.
Also because when Rome got hit, the rest of the world didn't know much yet. So Milan and the north, and then Rome, you know, we were the first ones. We all learned a lot from you.
Yeah. Avant-garde.
And so I would thank you, Elisa. We have a good 20 minutes for questions. I could ask you so many more things, but I won't unless there's need. But I would like to see what our friends in the audience would like to share with you, or just open up on how they reacted to the movie, how they feel, something they like to tell you. I can read a question in the chat from Joan Verberg. Joan is asking, would you please talk about your thoughts and choices to use another person to shoot some of the footage when you are alone?
Well, you know, sometimes you think that's another person, but it's not. I did this test many times with people. Like when I ran in Rome, everybody thinks that I had somebody with a steady cam like here following me. Instead was like that, you know, never watching at me, never looking at me, because it was something that was embarrassing me. So always with the camera on me and the screen to the nobody. And only in the last part, when things, you know, became easier, like we could see each other, we could do things together, like the very end with Tommaso, with the artist who helped me in the final moments, and like one of my best friends. I asked him to come with me, also because it was part of his performance somehow, this like sending the cell phone in the sky, right? And but many times really people don't see the difference between me shooting myself and asking somebody else to shoot myself. Like the maximum can happen is like my sister maybe, but
yeah, but that happened, that lasts 1 second. And you also called that out. You say, my sister, was shooting me. I have to say, along with Joan, I had to read some of your prior interviews or some of the interviews that you did at festivals or to see you on video, because even I at first had, the way you were using the cell phone was so interesting, and you found such an interesting way and distance to put your hand and to shoot at yourself that it really does look like there's somebody else running next to you or someone that, so that is not the case. It was always only you.
Only me, and also at home. Sometimes, you can see things well framed, but that's a case again, because, I would put my cell phone on a bottle and I would walk to the window, and that's the frame, and you think that somebody holding the camera, which is an iPhone, but it's not.
Thank you. Okay, maybe the next one, I see Linda G. Would you like, Joan, I hope we've answered your question. If we haven't, please let us know. Linda G, now maybe, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Okay.
I would like to do
video. I'm coming in. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Nice.
Hello. Oh, I loved your film. You are so emotional, and you are a philosopher, and you're what you think of, and so creative. One question my friend and I had was, what's it like to be depicting, living something so emotional, both tragically, both joyously, both so intense, and yet then to be the observer, the filmmaker, and how do those two interact?
Well, telling the story made me a survival. You see what I mean? Like it created a distance between me and my story, the story I was telling. So it's like something that is always, running after itself somehow. But I think that without the cell phone and without the other me that I was capturing, that was my actress, that was my, creator, I'm not sure I would be here now the way I am, right? Because sometimes I felt really, I was like, I'm going crazy here. You don't see anybody, you don't have a life, you have a cancer, and outside is the end of the world. So it's like, please give me the solution, right? And the solution came from me. And I transformed and I made myself an actress in order to survive, basically. And the distance is really something crucial in this experience. And the distance at the same time is the intimacy. It's very contradictory, but at the same time, I think is the only way I can explain it to you.
Yeah, I think the distance of creativity makes our pain bearable.
Can you?
The distance of creativity makes our pain bearable.
That's exactly, I think in the end, creativity is really a distance. If you ask me to define what is creativity, is really making a gap between you and reality. And in this gap, you can figure out how to add something to this strange planet.
Thank you, Linda. Now I see Rachel McGarry. I can read it, or if you'd like to unmute yourself and maybe even come on video, if you have it, we can hear your question. Yes.
Hi, I'm Rachel McGarry. I really enjoyed the film. Thanks so much. I just had asked, shooting on your cell phone, I think really lends an intimate, authentic voice to the film. And so I wondered if you plan to make any films this way again in the future.
That's what I wonder too. I mean, it's a big problem of my life now, right? And I think I will make only movies like that. I mean, I think that's my way, I think that through this tragedy, basically, which is fun also somehow, because I can't be too serious at the end. You saw also in the movie. I think I discovered what I want to to do in my life, right? It took a long time, but at least, you know, I don't know if I could do something in a normal way anymore, you know? Especially now that we are so like attacked by product, because everything is a product now, right? And making movies is something that is out of fashion almost. They ask you for a product, not a movie. Instead, I want to make movies, and so it's going to be difficult and even more difficult, I think. And so I think I'm going, but still I'm going in this way, in this direction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see any questions written, but please raise your hand or unmute yourself. If maybe raise your hand before, if you would like to ask a question, or I'm sure there are, or just share with Elizabeth.
Tommaso, you sound like, you know, the seduta spiritica. What the, you know, the, what is, how do you say that?
Spirit, I don't know. How do you say when she say, Elisa is saying that I sound like someone who is conducting spiritual something. I don't know. I'll try to change. How do you want me to sound? I don't know.
No, I love it. No, because like raise your hand or
okay,
write.
Raise your hand if you want to talk to Elisa. And okay,
Like,
let's see. Anybody? Any question, or even just, I'm sure that Elisa would love to hear your thoughts on your film, whether you loved it or whether there's some things that you're uncertain about and you criticize about of it.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's very generous when you criticize something.
Elisa, I'm curious to hear about the final scene.
Yeah.
The cell phone
in the space.
In the space, can you tell us about that scene?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I wanted to end the movie with some kind of liturgy, no, because of my faith, because of this path, basically. So I tried this pilgrimage, but alone didn't make a lot of sense because, you know, a pilgrimage on your own is not exactly as powerful as should be. So as a kind of extreme act of freedom, and also how can I say, to fight entropy also, which is my third obsession. With Tommaso, we planned this launch because it's actually a real mission, you know. Still, people ask me, because yes, people ask me if it's some kind of VFX, right? Like a digital effect. Instead, it's really a cell phone that we sent like 40,000 meters in the sky, up. And basically was like changing the axis of the story. Instead of going in the space, I wanted to travel in time. So this is a pilgrimage in time, in my timeline. And it's really something like, okay, we are humans, we face this mess. We are here in peace, please listen to us. It's a kind of golden record, which is my passion, you know. My last, I mean, before this movie, I made two movies ago, with a documentary, sci-fi documentary, as I like to define it, was about extra ETs, right? People that believe in ETs. And again, I studied a lot, and I fell in love with Carl Sagan and the Golden Record, and you know, this kind of romantic way of testimonying our presence in the universe. So it was kind of a tiny golden record that actually, I mean, it fell again, of course, otherwise I wouldn't have the material. But for a while, we almost escaped gravity. We almost escaped problems. We almost escaped that. So that was the idea. And plus it was a surprise to Alessia because she really didn't know anything. So the lady, she was, I think she had like her blood tested that morning, and it was difficult to, you know, connect because normally these labs are always in some kind of horrible place underground. And so, but I mean, she didn't know anything, the lady. So basically I was like, Alessia, please, now you concentrate, and you she was like, where are you, what are you doing here, there, and then the countryside. I was like, look at this, and as you saw.
I have to say, if I can add, when I saw the ending, I think I called you immediately, said, oh my God, and you weren't answering, but I wanted to tell you, this is the most beautiful ending I've seen in such a long time. It was just so poetic. And the gesture of the gift to your friend, it's so beautiful. And also it was bringing a different dimension. You know, it was reminding us yet once more that we're all just so small compared, you know, suddenly you leave yourself, you're finally not in the movie. And, you know, you leave yourself, you go away from yourself, you go up. And it's a reminder that, as you said, what you were going through is just, even though it's so huge to you as a person, at the same time, it's so minimal and small compared to the bigger schemes of things, you know? So I just found it, there's so many layers there. I want to be quickly, there are a few questions, we can get them all. I don't know if we can get more than the ones that I see written. I want to first read a comment to you, Elisa, from Joan. She says, I haven't seen the film yet, but now I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for being so open and sharing so much. I'm deeply moved just from the discussion.
Oh, thanks.
So Joan is thanking you. Then I see Linda G, you already asked a question. So if we have time, we will, okay, yes, but first we'll go to another person. Zoe is asking, what was the process of turning the footage into a movie? Did you edit it yourself? How much more did you shoot that didn't make it into the final cut? And maybe I will add, how long was the editing process? How much footage did you have?
Basically, no, I didn't, I mean, I never do everything on my own. Otherwise, I mean, at least the editor, I still need, right? I'm the actress, I'm the one that made the movie, and the writer. So no, I'm not the editor. The editor is a lady, Natalie Cristiani. But the way we cut the movie was really clear. I didn't.
You're breaking up.
It looked like a movie, right? I just added like the scene the way it was. It's really rare that you see two of the same scenes, you know, two different point of views, or something too refined. I wanted to become and to be and stay actually rough as much as possible. And I had to also to fight with the editor sometimes, because sometimes was too much almost, no? Because the phone is really sometimes like too wavy, too kind of dirty, but I think was the right way to declare, like to, you know, to say the truth. And again, I don't have that much that I didn't put in the movie, because I'm not a bulimic person. I mean, every day, not every day, I mean, every day, every single day, every time I had something that was happening to me, I would kind of record the moment. But it wasn't something that I would do every single day if the day before was the same. You see what I mean, right? So basically I used everything, and we were really fast, because this kind of movies is like a trap, right? You could stay there forever. It could be the movie of your life if you wanted to be that way. But since I'm really impatient, and plus I was also the actress, which is the first time in my life that I got something with me. Like I'm in the screen, I'm out of the screen, I hear my voice as a voiceover, I hear myself thinking with the same voice about the movie I'm making. So it's really kind of also boring. So we were fast. I'd say 40 days maximum.
Thank you. We have a few more minutes. I'll take the questions in the order they were asked. I know that one from Linda G is from a different person, so I'll ask. I noticed that the camera, this one is from Janine.
Yeah, right.
So how did the dog help you, basically? You often turn to Stella when emotions were being discussed. Is this a safe, loving outlet?
Sometimes you don't know why you do stuff, right? It's just something that happens. And that's why we need the audience, we need the public, we need critics, and we need people to know why we did something. So maybe through Zoe, I understood Zoe, Linda, Joanne, and Louise, and everybody understood something more about me and my movie.
Thank you. There's two questions I want to get in because we have time for both of them. In the meantime, I would ask you, we need to see Stella. Is she around? Can we wait?
Yeah, sure, wait.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, Amore. Oh, there she is. Okay, thank you.
She's afraid after Lady Gaga's dog. She's like preoccupied, worried.
Thank you. So I will read this. That will be the last two questions. One is from Luisa Dattila, or Dattilia. Please, I can't see very well. Anyway, please read for me. I'm sorry, Luisa, Luisa Dattilia. Please read for me, which I'm doing, Luisa. I have not yet seen the film, but I will see it today. My husband died of cancer in June, so this resonates so deeply with me. I am wondering how the constant state of not knowing influenced your voice and the intimacy of your storytelling. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, really. Sorry also for this sound. Stella, per favore, 5 minuti. I'm sorry. Yes, I mean, I don't know if I can call it a fortune, but being sick in that moment to me was less scary. Because I told you before, the world seemed to end. I mean, I felt like I was living the apocalypse, right? So I was less scared even to die, even if the doctor were like, don't worry, you won't die. But they always say that, right? Also to my friend, when she got a doctor to visit her, because at that point she had like a fever for I don't know 40-50 days, and for COVID reasons they wouldn't accept her at the hospital. And then I told her, like, no, you have to go there, you stay there in front of the emergency room, and at some point somebody will come and help you, because we are a Catholic country, and they will help you, right? And it happened, and they discovered that she had lymphoma. So but I think that if I got sick in a normal moment of my life, that not knowing would have been unbearable, really. Also because I'm really scared, as I think everybody, right? Of disappearing. So I don't know if I answered also, because I mean, it's not something that you can really answer. And the fact that you lost your husband really kind of touched me. So I'm really sorry.
Thank you. We're sorry from Luisa, from all of us. We have the last question. How do you make, from Caroline Halliday, how do you make the distinction between making an art film that might only be seen in a museum versus a movie that is intended to be shown in a cinema theater? You seem very interested in broaching an art video, in making an art video.
This is something I didn't think about, honestly. Of course, this is not some kind of blockbuster, right? And it's not meant to be that kind of movie, and it couldn't be also. But I don't even think it's an art movie, also because there is nothing that lead to an art movie, right? That's something so spontaneous, so rough, so wrong also. It's not an art house production. It's not even a production. It's on my own, right? So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to make movies for museums. I want to make movies for people, and then maybe they'll figure out the best way to access. No, they'll find out the way to access the world by movies. I don't know how to explain. I don't think in this way. I mean, I think to the public, it's really important to me that an audience understand what I'm trying to tell or to represent, picture, use the verb you prefer, but I don't have this perspective, but I should.
Thank you, Elisa. We have one more comment that we can take. It's from Cheryl Mousley, who, Elisa, was the senior curator of film and video at the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis, which is one of the most important museums in America, for 20 years. She's here with us today, and this is what she is asking or saying. All of her questions have been answered. She just wants to comment that the power of personal storytelling with personal cell phones in this virtual era looks to the future. And I think that is a perfect ending. Thank you, Cheryl, for our...
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Right? I think it just helps us, right? And I don't know if you want to quickly comment to that, but it's just a comment. And
no, I think it's great. I mean, thank you.
It captures everything. Thank you, everybody. Maybe we can unmute and clap our hands to Elisa, because we are super happy. Brava, brava, brava.
Brava, Elisa. Grazie, Elisa.
Grazie for being with us. I just want to remind everybody that if you've seen the movie, you still have the 48 hours. You can see it again in 48 hours as many times as you want and study it even more.